Hi, I'm Nicole and welcome to Ballet Core at Home. You'll need something to hang onto if you don't have a bar. You can use the back of a chair, or in my case, I'm using my kitchen bench. That's the perfect height for a ballet bar. Our first exercise is called pliés. In pliés, you're warming up your knees, your hips and your ankles. You're keeping your spine upright with your shoulders stacked above your hips. As you bend your knees going down into your plie, try and keep your back upright. I'll show you side on. Keeping the back upright. Try not to hinge from the hip like a squat and drop the shoulder forward. Keep the back upright for your pliés. Our second exercise is tendus. Have energy coming down through the legs as you press down. Slide your foot along the floor. Use the muscles behind your toes as you slide the foot in and slide the foot back out. Keeping your pelvis level. Try not to let that hip lift up. Keep the pelvis perfectly still as your foot slides out and slides back in. When we do tendus, we can go to the front, to the side, and to the back. As you go to the back, it's okay for your pelvis to tilt slightly. When you do front, side, back, side, that's called tendu en croix. You can leave your hand on your hip, or you can use the arms as I've done in the exercise. glissade is a continuation on from a tendu. Still have energy pushing down through the legs, through the feet, through the backs of the toes. But in a glissé, the toes are allowed to lift just off the floor, just a tiny little bit off the floor. A lot of energy and a little bit faster than your tendus. Rond de jambe artère. That's a circular movement of the leg in the hip joint, circling along the floor. Make sure you keep your pelvis level and still as the leg goes to the front, to the side and to the back. Circular movement in the hip joint. In the exercise in this video, we also add in a demi-plie. We've got a plie with our rond de jambe. A plie, extend the foot, and a small rond de jambe. Frappes and petit battements are preparation for beat work in the centre. You often see ballerinas do lots of jumps with little fast beating actions, so they practice these movements at the bar. A fondue exercise. Fondue means to melt. You may have been to a fondue party before where you have melted cheese and melted chocolate. They're my favourite. And that melting action is what we want through the knee joint. As you go into your fondue, again, you can have your hand on your hip to make sure that your pelvis stays level and still. Going from 2 feet, transfer your weight onto 1 foot as you melt down through the knees, and then come back to 2 feet. You can practice that action first, from 2 feet to 1 foot, that melting action, before you try the fondue exercise on the video. battement en cloche. A swinging action through the hip joint. You can keep your knee bent, you don't have to have a straight leg. A relaxed movement. I'd like to hear that swishing action on the floor using the backs of the toes. Battement en cloche. It's like a swinging action of a pendulum, swinging forward and back. You are allowed to tilt the pelvis slightly forward and back, and the body weight travels with the balance of the movement forward and back. Adage is a slow exercise in ballet. It's quite heavy on the legs, so if you find this one a bit hard, you can keep everything very low and keep your foot on the floor. You don't have to lift your leg very high. We've finished our bar section of the class. It's time to come into centre practice. You can have a gentle stretch before you start your centre practice. Centre practice, we're starting with our balance exercise. Transferring your weight onto one leg. Remember to gently lift the pelvic floor, engage the abdominals, slide your rib cage down towards your hip bones. Lengthen through your spine, through the crown of your head, and remember to squeeze your glute. Tummy in, that will help you keep your balance. If at any point you feel unbalanced, you can put that foot back onto the floor. If you still feel unbalanced, come back over to your bar, take your balance position, and then gently lift your hand off the bar. bras with arabesque. We're practicing our arabesque arms. Your arabesque arm, make sure your front arm, middle finger in line with your nose, your back arm is lower than shoulder height and slightly behind the body. Bras with rotation. It's quite a tricky exercise. You really need to use your core muscles for this one to keep your balance. Remember the rib to hip connection and tummy in. The tricky part is when you go from your arabesque position, pivot, a quarter turn, bring your arms through first position and pivot to the front. You really need to use that tummy, core engagement, rib to hip connection. Tendus with preparation for pirouette. Tendus in the center are a great way to practice your balance, making sure you're standing on your supporting leg, using that glute activation and tummy core connection to hold your balance. With the preparation for pirouette, you can take a gentle rise, or you can do the releve option. pirouette on to don. If you don't like turning, that's okay. If this one's not for you, don't do the turn. You can practice the preparation. Again, it's all about balance. Preparing, bring all of the weight forward onto your front supporting leg. Balance and lower. If you're doing the pirouette option, take your weight forward over the supporting leg, then bring your second shoulder with you. Pick a spot to focus on, leave your eyes in that spot, and then return your head to the same spot. Make sure that second shoulder comes around with you. Stay in first position for the pirouette. It's a short first position. If you'd like your fingertips to touch slightly, to have a strong position, that's okay. That's the introduction to jumps in this video. If you don't want to do any jumping, if you've got knee issues or hip issues, don't do the jumping part. This exercise is meant to be bright and lively and very light. You'd like to have that feeling of elevation as you jump, very light jumps. Again, lifting up through the core. Take a deep breath in as you jump and exhale on the landing. Cool down walls with upper body rotation. Joining me for my first ballet core at home video, and I hope to see you again in the second video. Take care. Bye.